it looks like Jacob Markstrom was in the Stars net. Where are you trying to see with him
Pardon?
tonight? It looks like Jacob Markstrom will get the start. Were you hoping to see out of him tonight?
We need our goalies both to continue their good performances. For sure.
Is Tanev in a day-to-day situation?
Yeah, because we traveled yesterday, so he'll spend some time getting looked at today.
You're late in the regular season. You've been traveling all over the map this month. How difficult has it been to manage the players' energy levels?
Yeah, just trying to trust their, talking to the leadership group and the captains and make sure and giving them their time. And it's not so much that the travel is, it's got them a little bit. I think we've seen that even both games this trip we were on.
What have you seen from Nazem Kadri recently?
I think the line last game gave us a really good boost. So they have to continue. They have to build on that game.
In front of your goalies, can your defensemen make life any easier for them coming into tonight?
We've done a pretty good job of that all year. I think we've only given up, second or third few shots against in the league. So, you know what? Goalie's job is to see it, stop it, cover it, steer it, get us to face off. So if it's the second, third ones, then that would be on the D. Either that's a poor rebound or a D not covering.
You've always been really complimentary of Tyler Toffoli. I'm curious, what do you see in the sense of this has been his best offensive season? So what's different, maybe what's better about this Tyler Toffoli?
I think you're only looking at regular season. I think that his best seasons would be where he's played deep into runs. But so, what's different about him? Those guys that get older that still have the hands and the great vision. So maybe they just find a better spot, or they know to shoot more, or they know when they're hot, keep shooting, and things like that. Right? You can say that he's a high percentage shooter, but he's also a volume shooter too. So he also has to play the guys that are getting him the puck, because he can't do it all. He can't just be a forechecker, and he can't just be a passer, and he can do all that stuff, but he also needs somebody that's going to get him the puck. And I think that's I think him and Lindy have had a pretty good connection there.
Is Tyler also one of those guys that wants the puck on his stick when the game's on the line?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that if you just look at it, he has thrived in situations. I mean, even this year, if you're evaluating on a good season, he scores a lot of big goals for your team. Tying goals, go-ahead goals, first goals, power play goals, things like that.
Considering all the line changes you've made throughout the year, can you describe how you've been able to keep Lindy and Toffoli together, and even Backlund and Coleman at times, and how that might make your job easier at times, at least when you're blending through all those line combinations?
Yep, I think everybody always wants lines. Everybody always talks about line or that line. Well, the reason somebody talks about a line that's going really good because they are. So it is usually twos. If you go around the league, it is. I mean, just because of the schedule and injuries and guys' performances, things like that, it is usually twos. And guys are, usually a centerman is comfortable with a one winger, and then depending on how you're playing or who your opponent is, guys move around.
When a player maybe is playing a couple minutes less per night than he's used to, as a coach, do you talk to the guy about this is what you have to do to get back? Or
not at all. Only thing a coach has got on a player now is ice time. So anybody talks about that, they shouldn't be talking about coaches or any of that stuff or deep analysis. They should just be looking at the player's performance. Very simple. There's not much around that at all.
I guess the onus is on the player to figure out how to get back.
That would be 100%, especially if it's a veteran player. If it's a young player, you're trying to work them through it, right? Keeping them off or keeping them away from certain guys, things like that, or managing schedules, as you've talked about with some of our younger players. But the veteran players, if they're still capable of being a good player, then that's on them.
Appreciating that I've not been around and seen teams as much as everyone else is here, can you please just tell me what the Golden Knights offer or challenge against them compared to other teams you've played lately?
Yeah, I think they have top four defensemen. For sure, those top four guys, that's really good. And then they have three centermen. They're a little bit different type players, but they would be number one or number two guys on every team. So if you got that, and then you got that. You remember how you win championships or how you win divisions: goaltending, defense, centerman.
I do want to ask about Jonathan Quick, a guy you know quite a
Yep.
bit about, going number 2 all-time American
Yep.
goaltenders.
Special, unique, and I think who's it to Ryan Miller?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was lucky to work in Anaheim with Ryan Miller and John Gibson, and then in LA with Jonathan Quick. So 3 pretty dominant American-born goaltenders, different types, but guys that win.
It sounds as if the team is going to be wearing Snowy Strong stickers. It's got to be pretty cool. It mean a lot to you guys as an organization.
Yeah, I think it's just a recognition more than anything. We see him every day. If he's feeling well enough, we see him every day. So the sticker's more a recognition, and we're proud of him.